The first time I felt it, it was an accident. An unexpected touch, a sharp breath, my heart pounding so loudly I thought my husband would hear it from the next room. I realized instantly that what I felt crossed a line I should never have approached. It made my cheeks flush and my breath catch. It's the sort of detail a woman picks up on, even when she tries to ignore it. Even if that woman is his mom, adopted, not by blood. A detail that would come back to bite me. I ripped off the pants like they were on fire. The image lingered, dense and heavy, pushing against the cotton. And even worse, a rush of confusing emotions overwhelmed me, demanding clarity. That was the moment I should have turned and left. No, 3 nights later, I caught the shower running late. Steam billowed beneath the bathroom door, and through the rushing water, I heard his voice cutting through the haze. Feeling down and frustrated, a low curse escapes the lips. I convinced myself it was just a quick check-in on him. Moms always have your back, don't they? The door creaked open, perfectly sufficient. Jake stood beneath the spray, head down. Stood quietly under the shower, lost in thought, unaware of my brief glance before I retreated. The other, God, enveloped himself, caressing gently, then fiercely. His shoulders tightened, water streaming down the defined contours of his back. That cock, thick and flushed in his grip, was so much more than what I'd felt through fabric. I parted my lips. My knees shook. He let out a deep, ragged groan. My nipples perked up beneath the silk robe. That was the second time I should have walked away. My fingers slid over my own damp skin, matching his rhythm. Quiet. Starving. Convicted. The floor creaked. He shot his head up. Our eyes met in the misty mirror. We stayed frozen in place. His voice raw with desire. Mom. Caroline Hartwell here. On the surface, my life seemed enviable to everyone around me. A Grand Victorian in upstate New York, a husband revered as a cardiologist, and a social scene filled with women who throw charity galas in summer in the Hamptons. Beneath the shiny surface of my life, an emptiness lingered, a persistent ache that had burrowed deep into my bones over the years. Andrew, my husband, was a great guy. At least that's what everyone claimed. Disciplined, successful, and always polite. Marriage, I discovered, isn't about being polite. It was fueled by passion, driven by hunger, and ignited by a desperate need that made you forget everything else. What about Andrew? Andrew stopped looking at me like that ages ago. Our intimacy turned into a routine, too predictable. A quick kiss on the forehead, then off to dreamland. Those rare, obligatory moments left me gazing at the ceiling, questioning if this was all there was. At 42, I felt like a museum piece, admired from afar but never truly touched or wanted. Next up, Liam. Liam wasn't our blood, but he felt like family. We took him in at 16 after his parents, Andrew's old college friends, tragically died in a car accident. Initially quiet, he was a brooding teen with dark eyes and a sharp wit that surfaced only in safe moments. He transformed into something extraordinary over the years. At 22, he was pure lean muscle and quiet confidence, flashing a smile that could break down the walls of even the most guarded individual in the room. But recently that confidence took a hit. It began with little signs, awkward silences, his tension whenever dating came up. One evening, I strolled by his half-open door and caught the unmistakable sound of frustration, a sharp exhale and the creak of his bed. Big mistake looking there. I knew I shouldn't have done that. Curiosity has always been my Achilles heel. Seeing him shirtless, his back muscles flexed as he gripped himself, sent a rush through me. Not just for his stunning looks, though he was undeniably gorgeous, but for the way his brow furrowed in frustration. Why not? He whispered quietly. What's going on here? He left the sentence hanging. I got it. In his grip lay the source of his frustration. Liam was huge. Not just big. It's ridiculously huge. Thick and heavy, it was the kind of size that made my throat dry just from a glance. But instead of pride, his expression screamed insecurity. In that instant, a dangerous force ignited within me. I knew that if I stepped in, if my fingers brushed his shoulder and I whispered, "Let me help you," he'd definitely agree. I really wanted to, and God help me. That night, everything changed. It was Thursday. Andrew was off on another business trip, a routine that was becoming all too common. I stopped asking where he really was ages ago. Liam's been off all week, restless and unfocused. I thought it was just college stress. In the kitchen, pouring a glass of wine, I heard the shower shut off upstairs. Moments later, Liam appeared in sweatpants and a relaxed t-shirt. His hair still wet, he lingered in the doorway, as if words were on the tip of his tongue. Everything good? Absolutely. He squirmed. Absolutely. Hey, can I ask you something a bit strange? Grin. Is this weirder than when you tried to sell me on cereal with orange juice? He stayed serious. His fingers drummed on his thigh, full of energy. It's all about girls. That kind of chatter. I sipped the wine, steeling myself. Absolutely. Hey there. What's going on? He let out a sharp breath, as if pushing the words out with effort. I feel like I'm too big. I almost choked. What's going on? His face turned red. Not like that, not at all. Downstairs. Wow, for a moment I was at a loss for words. This was more than just typical teenage angst about size. This was completely different. He was telling me. Definitely not Andrew. Not just a college buddy. Me. I placed my wine down with care. Liam, that's not typically a complaint from guys. He seemed utterly miserable. This is serious. Painful, like when things are happening. I should have stopped this. This isn't right. Let's get you to a doctor. I didn't. Could be the wine. Perhaps it was the way his voice cracked, so raw and vulnerable. Or maybe it was the part of me craving attention. Desperate for any spark of feeling, I asked the question that would change everything. Have you done anything to simplify it? His eyes darted to mine, then quickly shifted away. I'm stuck. What now? That's when I spotted it. Fear lurking beneath the shame. He was more than just a bragging teenager. He was truly terrified. I should have just walked away. No, the kitchen air was thick. It's not just about humidity. There's more to it. Pure energy, risky. Liam shifted his weight, ready for action. His fingers tapped nervously against his thigh. The pulse in his throat throbbed, quick and erratic. I gulped, my mouth going dry in an instant. This is incorrect. This is completely off. The wine coursed through my veins, warming me up. The loneliness of the past few years clawed at me like a ravenous beast. It had been months since Andrew had laid a finger on me. No, not in a significant way, and there stood this boy. Not a boy anymore, not at all. He stared at me as if I possessed the answers to questions he couldn't even articulate. Have you discussed this with anyone? I asked, gripping the counter tightly. Liam shook his head, dismissing the idea. His dark curls tumbled into his eyes. Who should I reach out to? Your physician. Looking for a therapist? Anyone but me. But he didn't. He came to me. I let out a slow breath, seeking calm. Got it. There are plenty of options available to simplify things. He scowled. What do you mean? Paused. This was heading into risky territory. His gaze was intense, filled with desperation and trust, and it unraveled something deep within me. Lube, I shot back. His cheeks flushed deep. Absolutely. Done that. That's it. He blinked rapidly. I suppose. I nearly burst out laughing. So close. It was just ridiculous. There I was, a 47-year-old woman, dishing out advice to my adopted son in the dead of night. Yet beneath the absurdity lay something more. Thrill. A forbidden charge crackled in the air. I launched myself off the counter. Hold on here. I dashed to the hall closet, heart racing, and yanked out the small bottle hidden behind the spare towels. Andrew hadn't laid a finger on it for years. I had no clue why I was still holding on to it. Could be a habit. When I glanced back, Liam remained right where he was. His eyes zeroed in on the bottle I held. Here, I said, extending my hand. He grabbed it carefully, our fingers barely touching. A jolt surged through me from the contact. Thanks, he muttered. I should have just walked away. Should have just said goodnight and headed upstairs. I didn't. Got any idea how to use it? I blurted out the words before I could catch myself. Liam's head shot up. Huh. Fool. Ridiculous. What's up? The damage was done. His gaze locked onto mine, intense and probing. I totally messed up, my face burning. If that's not cutting it, you might need to amp it up. Quiet. Intense. Choking. Next, silently. Let's see it. My breath hitched. Whoa. No way. But my body just wouldn't cooperate. Heat surged in my stomach, spreading like wildfire. Liam, we just can't. Absolutely. His voice was gravelly, almost a whisper. I'm stuck. What now? And that's a wrap. The last shred of my determination shattered. I moved in closer. Even closer. His breath caught as I reached out, fingers trembling against his wrist. Like this, I whispered, steering his hand. His skin radiated warmth, super cozy. I had no idea who made the first move. Could it have been me? Could it have been him? Suddenly we were inches apart. His mouth collided with mine, fierce and eager, and she kissed him back. It was a mistake. It was a mess. I felt more alive than I had in years. His hands were all over the place. My waist, hips, and hair. He yanked me close, his strength leaving my knees trembling. I could feel him every inch pressed against me. Wow. He was spot on. Caroline. He inhaled sharply against my lips. Hearing my name on his lips sent a jolt through me. This was more than a mere drunken blunder. He craved this. Craved me. I wanted him. I leaned back slightly to lock eyes with him. Really? Are you certain? He groaned, lifting me onto the counter and sending the wine glass crashing to the floor. It broke, but we didn't mind at all. What followed was a whirlwind of hands, lips, and hushed curses. His touch started off awkward, full of eagerness but lacking confidence, until I took the lead, demonstrating just how to make me moan. The night blurred into a series of reckless, irreversible decisions. It was slow, so slow. Even with all the careful prep, he was overwhelming. I spotted stars. That was a mistake. Absolutely flawless. The end was just starting. The next morning was still, way too quiet. I woke before dawn, wrapped in sheets that carried his scent. It's a mix of sweat, cheap body wash, and that unmistakable male scent. My body throbbed in spots I didn't even remember could hurt. A pulsating reminder of our past actions. What I'd allow. Liam had vanished. The space next to me felt icy. The pillow hardly budged. The soreness between my thighs was the only thing keeping me from thinking it was all just a dream. But it wasn't the case. I sat up slowly, wincing as my muscles protested. Sunlight sliced through the blinds, casting bold stripes on the messy bed. Andrew's bed. The realization struck me hard. Wow, what have I done? I dashed into the shower, scrubbing my skin raw, desperate to wash away the memory of Liam's hands on me. But the marks he left were permanent. Breakfast was a battleground. Liam was in the kitchen when I came downstairs, ready for college. Backpack casually slung over one shoulder. He ignored me. He gazed into his cereal bowl as if it contained the universe's secrets. Cleared my throat. Good morning. He gripped the spoon tighter. Absolutely. Quiet. Hey. Choking. I poured unwanted coffee, hands trembling. Last night was something else. Stop. His voice was gritty, unrefined. Seriously, just don't. I was ready to argue, but then the front door slammed shut. Andrew's back home early from his trip. Sweet nectar. Liam. Are you there? Absolutely. Liam's head shot up. His eyes were wide, filled with a hint of panic. For a split second, I feared he might take off. Then Andrew burst in, grinning with that airport stubble. Liam's mask snapped back into place. Hey, Dad. Hey, a knot twisted in my gut. Andrew playfully ruffled Liam's hair, treating him like a kid again. Missed you, champ. How's college going? All right. Liam gulped down cereal, dodging my stare. Time to jet. Running late for practice. He bolted out the door before Andrew could even ask why the swim team was practicing at 7 a.m. Andrew shot me a grin. What's his story? Let out a forced laugh. Teens. He pressed his dry, familiar lips to my cheek. Everything good? You seem worn out. Fill him in on last night's events. Absolutely not. It flashed through my mind in an instant. I just didn't sleep well, I said. The following week was pure agony. Liam dodged me. Missed dinners. Burned the midnight oil at study groups, when we had to share air. He'd stiffen like a trapped beast. His jaw tightened, ready to shatter teeth. I convinced myself it was the right move. That wild madness from that night must stay buried. Then on Thursday, Andrew headed out for another business trip. Liam stumbled home, clearly drunk. Spotted him on the back porch. A half-empty vodka bottle swinging from his fingers. His eyes glimmered like glass. His shirt was a mess. What on earth? I grabbed the bottle. You're 22 years old. He let out a sharp, bitter laugh. Absolutely, and you're my child. Looks like we both missed the mark. Mom lingered in the air, heavy and distorted. I perched next to him, the wood chilling against my thighs. Let's discuss this now. Why not? He faced me, his breath hot with booze. You'll wish you hadn't. It was a statement. I should have said yes. Should have just lied, but the truth burst forth instead. I'm unsure about my regrets. His eyes locked onto my lips. Deceiver. We shared a moment of impulsive emotion. A mistake that would cost us dearly, and I couldn't resist. This time things changed. Pure desire, no regrets. Just the heat, the hunger, and the sultry rhythm of our bodies on the porch swing. In the dark, as we lay entwined, he whispered the words that changed everything. I just can't stop. I can't either. Truths crumbled quickly. Fictitious girls' names in Liam's phone to throw Andrew off during those late-night escapades. A fresh lock for our bedroom door. My bedroom door for when Andrew was around. But the cracks began to appear. Liam's coach reached out about skipped practices. Andrew scowled at the credit card bill. When did you start buying lingerie? Once I nearly said his name in bed with Andrew. We were flirting with danger. Fire always burns. It was raining the first time Andrew nearly caught us. Thunder shook the windows while Liam pinned me against the pantry door. His lips burned against my neck. His hands slipped beneath my sweater. We were reckless, desperate. The rush of nearly getting caught was now part of the thrill. But then, Caroline, you're home. Andrew's voice unexpectedly close, way too close. Liam stopped dead in his tracks. Our ragged breaths shattered the silence. A floorboard creaked in the hallway. In a heartbeat, Andrew's footsteps faded as he ascended the stairs. Liam breathed out unsteadily, resting his forehead on my shoulder. What a bummer. I should have seen it coming. Signed and sealed. Stop. No. 2 weeks later, the message arrived at 3:17 a.m. wide awake. Join me. Liam's dorm was a quick 30-minute drive from home. Foolish gamble. I went anyway. That night, our date was anything but ordinary. He was tougher, almost furious. He clutched my hands firmly. He murmured, "You were with him tonight." Andrew took me out for lunch. An uncommon date. No response. She arched against him, letting guilt ignite her hunger. As I dressed in the dim blue glow of his laptop, Liam uttered the words that would haunt me forever. I adore you. I don't love this. I don't want you. Love ya. I kissed him to dodge the question. Andrew spotted the receipt first. Hotel fee. A choice I didn't make. Who's Liam bringing to the Marriott? He slid the paper across the table and asked at dinner. Liam's fork clanged against his plate. Let out a forced laugh. Maybe it's a girl he's too shy to introduce to the family. Andrew narrowed his eyes. Complete nonsense. Check him out. Liam's face was ghostly pale. Silence thumps. Got it. Show me your phone. Andrew demanded. Liam sprinted away. The front door banged shut. Tires screeched. And just like that, he vanished. Andrew faced me, his voice chillingly calm. You've got something to share. Refuse it. Get it done now. But my mouth let me down. Think again. His fist slammed down on the table. So what is it? Emerging in fragments. A quick shower. A bustling kitchen. Porch. Andrew stayed calm. No tears shed. He sat there, breathing heavily as if I'd ripped him apart. When I was done, he said just 2 words. Leave now. Liam's dorm stood vacant. His call went straight to voicemail. Andrew switched out the locks. And me. I sped to the motel where it all started, checked in solo just like on the receipt. The bed reeked of bleach. The sheets felt rough. I curled up and finally let the tears flow. This is the finale. Tuesday brought the divorce papers. Andrew backed down. No lawyers, no shouting matches. A manila envelope slipped under my motel room door. A note clipped to the front. Get them signed. Don't reach out to me again. I followed the familiar angle of his handwriting. The N never sliced into the paper like a knife. 15 years of marriage boiled down to a single signature. Sign. What more could be done? Hunting for Liam. The dorm room was empty. His social media's gone. The university stated he withdrew for personal reasons. I raced to every spot I thought he could be. The vinyl shop where he scored his records. The rundown diner where we sipped milkshakes that unforgettable summer. Even the park looks great at 17. He said he felt like a ghost in his own life. 0. Zilch. A single missed call at 2:47 a.m. was the last trace of him. The night Andrew tossed me out, I was too numb to respond. The voicemail was all that remained. I can't stand you. Unsteady breath. I can't stand that I still do. A faint sound, perhaps a sob. And just like that, the line went dead. I played it on repeat until the words faded away. Whispers turned into headlines, igniting the gossip frenzy. Adopted son bolts after scandalous affair with mom. Our story turned into cocktail party chatter. Can you believe it? Juicy gossip about those unaware of Liam's booming laugh or Andrew's shower serenades. Only my sister called. Jesus, Caroline, she hissed. A stepson cut off contact and changed my number. The motel bathtub felt cramped for the unfolding drama. Yet the wine bottle was nearly drained. I saw the water turn pink from the spilled wine and thought, this is how it should be. Such actions warrant a life like this. Suddenly my phone buzzed. I got him out. He looked rough. A fresh tattoo winds up his arm, scorch it in sharp strokes. His face twisted the moment he saw me. What brings you here? No one else is doing it. He laughed, a mix of bitterness and despair. Impressive, truly. I reached out to him. He recoiled. Don't, he spat. You're not in charge here. The truth cut deep. I was never his mother, just a woman who took what wasn't mine. Handed him cash and a bus ticket to anywhere. He boarded without a glance back, flipping a middle finger over his shoulder, the final sign that we were a disaster. I'm now working nights at a gas station on 80. Just a name tag that says Linda. No makeup, no designer clothes. I couldn't stand being called Caroline any longer. In the stillness of the road, I recall Liam's breath catching at my touch and Andrew's goofy grin as he proposed, kneeling in the rain. I pour coffee for truckers, hiding my shaking hands. Was it really worth it? That's the thing about ruin. It won't care about your regrets. Caroline's tale wraps up. A gripping saga of hunger, isolation, and choices that can't be undone. The takeaway is clear. Some doors, once open, stay wide open. What would you do if you were in Caroline's shoes? Could you have just walked away? Drop your thoughts below. One bad decision can turn us into someone unrecognizable. The story dives into a tangled web of desire, betrayal, and consequences, uncovering deep truths about human nature and relationships. The narrative is a cautionary tale about the destructive force of forbidden passions and the lasting damage from selfish choices. It shows how fleeting pleasures can result in lifelong devastation when they cross moral boundaries and social taboos. The characters' journeys show that crossing key lines, especially those tied to family trust and societal norms, shatters relationships and reshapes identity, leaving lasting scars that regret can't erase. Caroline's fall from a respected socialite to a lonely motel clerk highlights how a string of poor choices can derail a life. It shows that some actions have consequences far greater than their fleeting rewards. Meanwhile, Liam's decline illustrates how being thrust into adult situations too soon can hinder emotional growth and lead to lasting attachment issues. Andrew's transformation reveals how betrayal can taint trust and hinder healthy relationships, even when he seems to move on. The story vividly shows that certain moral boundaries are crucial for deep psychological and social reasons. Breaking them causes harm that ripples out, impacting not just those involved but entire networks and communities. The characters' struggle for redemption highlights how some mistakes can forever keep happiness at bay, trapping them in a cycle of isolation with their choices. The story highlights that while human desire is natural, losing control, especially when it endangers others, creates a unique hell, trapping one in a cycle of memory and regret. The story ultimately asserts that some actions are unforgivable, not due to societal judgment, but because they irreparably damage something deep within both the perpetrator and the victim. The characters' fates show that prioritizing selfish desires over moral duties leads to losing not just possessions, but our very identity and any hope for future happiness. The total lack of any positive result from the affair is a clear warning against idealizing forbidden relationships, highlighting the harsh contrast between fantasy and reality when consequences hit. The story reveals that real morality goes beyond rules. It's about grasping how our choices affect others and our future selves. The narrative reveals that some mistakes lead to irreversible damage, serving as life sentences rather than learning experiences. The total ruin of all three lives shows that when moral boundaries are set for good reason, crossing them results not in freedom, but in deeper, more painful forms of confinement. The story's strength is in its challenge, pushing readers to face the harsh reality that some wrongs can't be fixed, only faced head-on. The narrative powerfully illustrates that self-control and respect for boundaries aren't restrictions on freedom. They're shields against unimaginable suffering. The character's struggle to move on highlights how moral transgressions linger and impact life. Psychological prisons trap us tighter than any physical ones ever could. The story highlights that true adulthood is about understanding which desires to act on, regardless of their intensity. The story vividly illustrates how each character's life is irrevocably altered by their choices, delivering a stark warning about the tempting myth that some rules can be bent. The total lack of any silver lining afterward highlights that some actions are wrong due to their irreversible consequences. The story wraps up with a jarring yet crucial insight. Sometimes the best way to win is simply to opt out of the game entirely.